Let's talk about how neurons, or nerve cells, use electrical and chemical signaling to communicate. First things first, neurons are the fundamental building blocks of our nervous system. They're specialized cells that transmit information throughout your body. Each neuron has three main parts. First, the cell body, or soma, which contains the nucleus and is the control center of the neuron. It processes incoming signals and maintains the cell's health. The dendrites are tree-like extensions that receive messages from other neurons. Think of them as the antenna that pick up signals and bring them into the neuron. The axon is a long, thin fiber that transmits electrical impulses away from the cell body to other neurons, muscles, or glands. It's like the neuron's highway for sending messages. So how does electrical signaling actually work? It all starts with a process called an action potential. Let's break it down. At rest, a neuron has a negative charge inside compared to the outside. This difference in charge is known as the resting potential, and it's maintained by ion channels and pumps within the neuron's membrane. These channels and pumps control the flow of ions like sodium and potassium. When a neuron receives a stimulus, say from another neuron or a sensory input, ion channels open up, allowing positive sodium ions to rush into the cell. This influx of positive ions causes the inside of the neuron to become less negative, a process called depolarization. If the stimulus is strong enough to reach a certain threshold, it then triggers an action potential. During an action potential, a wave of depolarization travels down the axon. It's like a domino effect. Once it starts, it can't be stopped. The action potential moves rapidly, ensuring that the message gets sent quickly from the neuron's cell body to the axon terminal. After the action potential passes, the neuron needs to reset. This process is called repolarization. Ion channels that allow potassium ions to leave the cell open up, restoring the negative charge within the neuron. This return to resting potential prepares the neuron for the next signal. But the journey doesn't end there. When the action potential reaches the end of the axon, or the axon terminal, it triggers the release of chemicals called neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters cross a tiny gap called the synapse to the next neuron, continuing the message. Neurotransmitters bind to receptors on the neighboring neuron, which can generate a new action potential. There are many different neurotransmitters, each with a specific role. For example, you have dopamine, which is involved in reward and motivation. It helps you feel pleasure and satisfaction. There's serotonin, which affects your mood and emotion. It's often called the feel-good neurotransmitter. There's also acetylcholine, which plays a key role in muscle movement. It's really important for muscle contractions and also plays a big role in memory and learning. Electrical signaling in neurons is crucial for everything we do, from moving and thinking to feeling and learning. It allows our brain to process information and respond to the world around us. Imagine playing a sport, solving a puzzle, or even just relaxing. All of these activities rely on the rapid communication between our neurons. When electrical signaling goes awry, it can lead to neurological disorders. Conditions like epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, and Parkinson's are linked to problems with how neurons communicate. For instance, in epilepsy, abnormal electrical activity within the brain can cause patients to suffer from seizures. All right, and there you have it, a crash course on electrical signaling within our neurons. Our neurons and their electrical impulses are fundamental to everything we do, making them truly amazing structures.